wonderful story, and believe me, if you have kids, then you realize also. I mean, once I thought my daughter is crazy. She's speaking by herself, and she was saying, para, to the TV. So, so we wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to have you here to ask you some questions. We're open to questions also from the audience. Florencia?
I will have the first question, and it will be more about like the relationship that you have with a license when you have to brief other people to like work with your brand, and with Dora, how you keep like the essence and all that, and how open are to move a little bit and update things coming from the people that you work with.
Well, you know, it was a big struggle initially to get our licensees to be open to not only including Spanish language in a lot of the Dora merchandise, but also sort of Spanish culture. You know, when licensees make dolls, they want to put them in pretty pink dresses and make them all sort of Barbie knockoffs. And as you could tell from some of the tape there, you know, Dora's clothing, we try to give a hint of authenticity to. You know, when she gets dressed up, she doesn't just put on some chic couture outfit. She has, you know, a dress with embroidery and a tiered skirt. And, you know, our creators actually, the three creators and the supervising producer who does all the storyboards and supervises the directors, for years would make an annual trip to Latin America. And so they went to Costa Rica, Mexico, and Guatemala. And one year they went to Machu Picchu, and Jeff DeGrandis, who I don't think had ever climbed anything in his life, climbed Machu Picchu. And it was, you know, for him, it was a very cathartic experience. And you know, if you go to the studio in Burbank, there are pictures of Latin America, the jungle, and of the beach, and of kids, and of Latin American classrooms and food. And so they really try and immerse the whole production into what that world looks like.
You mentioned at some point something that I thought it was really interesting. You said, okay, 3-year-old kids tell me what to do. Okay, I think from your speech, I realized how important research is in what you do, and I was interested in knowing how you manage that process, because, of course, the whole project means a lot of risk, but at the same time, you have a lot of research. So I wanted to know how you manage that balance, who makes those decisions, what to listen, what to not listen, or how to listen. When you mention this thing about sleeping under the tree, okay, you could have taken that. Let's don't do a Spanish-speaking character, or let's do what you did by really transform that and take it in a positive way. So how are you managing that process? How far you go with the research, and what kind of process you use for that?
You know, there are so many different kinds of research, because for this product especially, there are sort of two users. There are parents who are sort of the customer, right? They allow their kids to watch TV and buy the things for them. And then there's your consumer, who are the children. So we certainly put a great weight on parents and listen to them when they say that they approve of something as being a good role model and having educational value. But it really is the person who's going to be consuming that product, and whether there is interest in it. You know, I think it's different for a product than it is for a TV show, because TV is all about entertainment, and that's all about making a character that people identify with, and you sort of have to fall in love a little bit to watch again and again. So TV is really about making someone fall in love, whereas with the product, it has to embody that person or that character. So if Dora is a leader and she's a girl and she speaks Spanish and she does all these other things, then the product, she has to be adventurous. You know, she can't just be a passive chick. There has to be Spanish in there, because that's part of the sort of magic language that she speaks. And, you know, research, we used 4 billion consultants. We had someone talking to us about language, because we had to we really wanted Dora to be pan-Latina and not to have her just sound like someone from Argentina or someone from Guatemala or someone from Costa Rica. We really wanted her to be, to have as many kids as possible identify with her. And I thought that was really good advice that came from one of our consultants. And then, you know, culturally, we would bring our consultants into meetings with Fisher-Price, and there would be some knockdown dragouts, you know, that you know, it was really all about doing justice to kids and showing them themselves on television, and to not do that is just shockingly bad. But research, you know, we take every script idea and 3 times with 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and a lot of them are sort of pre-verbal. They don't really talk that much, so you have to watch them really carefully and really think about whether or not they're engaged in the story, whether they can repeat the story back to you, and whether they're talking back to the TV set. And if they're not talking, I mean, I love when kids watch TV like this. You know, that they're just completely in there. And then for kids, when the TV's off, to be able to talk about the things that they saw and to repeat the language and use it in other situations and draw maps. And it's pretty exciting.
You know, it's very interesting when you said it's different in entertainment because we want people to fall in love with the character, and in advertising it's different. Actually, what I was mentioning at the beginning, this relationship with entertainment and advertising is really what I think is happening, because if you think we're talking a lot, especially in my agency, about love marks and how to create the love for the brands instead of just the respect. And that's really, it's there, no? It's the going together to the same direction at some point. We're open to questions from...
I have one more.
Sorry.
Talking about Pan-Latino, I would like to ask you about if you thought at the beginning to have one core origin or identity in order to go deeper, or if you have some question about if it will be Pan-Latino, will be more flat or more distant from some identification.
Right, more homogenized.
Exactly.
It was a hard decision, you know, because if she was from a particular place, if each character was from a particular place, you could go more deeply into the culture of that particular place. But, you know, Dora's not about geography. It's really about a Latin American kid. So it was about a girl who lived in the United States who has traditional heritage, and we felt that having more people identify with her sort of made up for our inability to make her Peruvian or, you know, Argentinian or from Uruguay or whatever. There was so much discussion about it.
I guess. Okay, there are some Microsoft around the...
Any questions? That's a question.
I'm not sure how to articulate this, but I'm struck by the fact that, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like the most successful sort of Latino culture icon in America today, certainly among the preschool set, but presumably among other age groups as well, was created by a team of largely Anglos, with the exception, I guess, of the guy whose mother was Puerto Rican, which is nice. But it's really interesting because we here in our profession are constantly working to sort of convince non-Hispanic clients of the potential value of what it is that we do. And yet I guess my question is, how come Nickelodeon is so smart? Or what motivated Nickelodeon to realize that there was a tremendous opportunity there? Because we'd love to have you go and talk to our clients, you know?
Anytime. You know, it really was all about reflecting the audience. And I think that sort of 10 or 11 years ago, we were just starting to see those stories come into the media about the changing face of the U.S. population and, you know, what the sort of racial makeup of this United States was going to be.